Hello, I'm Jasmine Irajak with the news at 6. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres arrived in Papua New Guinea for his official 4-day visit. His visit marks an historic occasion as it is the first time a sitting UN Secretary-General has visited the country since it joined the UN in 1975. His Excellency Guterres stated his visit serves as a mark of solidarity with PNG as one of the strong partners to UN.
His Excellency Antonio Guterres comes just in time when PNG is celebrating its 50th independence anniversary. It is a historic moment also for PNG to receive a sitting United Nations Secretary-General. Prime Minister James Marape, accompanied by his deputy Don Rosso and other senior delegates, received the Secretary-General yesterday evening at Melanesian House in Port Moresby for more talks regarding UN saving presence in the country.
I'm honored to be the first UN Secretary-General to visit Papua New Guinea and to join you in celebrating 50 years of Papua New Guinean independence and democracy. Over the past 5 decades, you have taken on a profound task to weave your breathtaking diversity into one people and one country that leaves no one behind.
United Nations has an active presence in PNG under key UN entities operating include UNDP, UNFPA, UNICEF, WHO and UN Women, working collaboratively to address national development priorities. According to the Secretary-General, UN has worked extensively in collaboration with young people around the country to fulfill their service agendas.
On this visit, I look forward to meeting with female community leaders. Violence against women and girls is a challenge that confronts all societies, including Papua New Guinea, and I commend the efforts by the Parliament to address it. The contributions of women to this great nation deserve our full recognition and respect.
He also spoke on the Bougainville Peace and Agreement, saying the UN is behind PNG to peacefully complete the phases of the peace and agreement process. Michael Tamtipais, TVWAN News.
The general public in Madang has been urged to conduct peaceful independence celebrations. Madang Provincial Police Commander Acting Superintendent Robert Baim said Madang Police will not tolerate rascals, loud music after 10 p.m. and disrespect. Police will commence operations with a parade on Monday, September the 8th. PPC Baim said police have already identified homebrew factories in and around Madang town, including urban villages, and are in the process of ensuring there is no homebrew production and illicit substances. Police manpower also have been boosted with additional members from the correctional services. City residents and the people of Central Province are urged to support policing efforts during the independence celebration period. NCD Central Commander Assistant Commissioner of Police Benjamin Turi and NCD Governor Powes Pakob said this at the launch of the Jubilee Celebration Security Operation on Monday at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium.
13 days remain before our country turns 50. Safety and security is priority for the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. With limited manpower, police will not be visible in all areas in the city and in Central Province. NCD and Central ACP Turi and NCD Governor Pakop urged the community to support the police during the independence celebration. They issued this warning during the launch of security operations in Port Moresby. Governor Pakop, while speaking to the police officers on parade, acknowledged their tireless efforts and noted the challenges they face daily in policing the city. He said times have changed and people are moving into the city in large numbers, which makes policing more challenging. Governor Pakop added that the city will be hosting lead-up events to the main Jubilee celebration on September 16. He said police police will be busy. Thus, the public is urged to help police ensure peaceful celebrations. ACP Turi challenged its officers to work with pride and serve the people regardless. He said with limited manpower, its officers have been hard at work to make sure NCD and Central Province are safe and peaceful. Meanwhile, the police will be out in full force to monitor the city and Central Province.
The Moveave Peace Committee in Gulf Province is urging local police and government to address infighting between the Kamea and Moveave tribes. Recently, a peace talk was held between leaders of the two tribes to address ethnic differences. The committee shared that it has been months since the ethnic clash in late 2024, where homes and lives were lost. All parties want troublemakers brought to justice. In 2024, a tribal conflict took place between the tribes of Kamea and Moveave after an incident took place which lives were lost. Homes and gardens were destroyed. The people of Kamea in the hinterlands of Gulf Province accessed the coast through the Taure and Lakekamu rivers, home to the people of Moveave. The Moveave Peace Committee said they are concerned that since the conflict has not been addressed, tension remains and conflict is likely. Secretary of the committee, Victor Isove, is calling on the provincial government and police to arrest those responsible for the killings.
The incident actually transpired as a result of a criminal offense where a youth from Kamea was murdered within the 600 major areas. 600 is a gold mining site where everyone from Papua New Guinea go there for alluvial gold mining. Basically, the incident happened on the 27th of November 2024. In retaliation, the Kameas mobilized and killed another youth from Moveave. During the incident, a lot of people received knife wounds, arrow wounds.
The peace agreement was broken well after the burning of houses took place between the two tribes, causing more deaths and injuries. People have been living in fear for months. Chairman of the Moveave Peace Committee, Herbert Pokana, wants police to act quickly.
It's taken us almost 10 months. We've got the government involved and police involved, but 10 months down the road, and there is very little inroad into bringing this peace. Though we've come up with, some months ago, we've come up with the ceasefire agreement. It's taken over 2 months now for the government to actually respond to that ceasefire agreement, which has pushed the village people. We have 12 clans from this village, the Moveave tribe. We have 12 clans that make up the Moveave tribe. Pushed them for us to have a meeting to see the way forward.
A meeting was held on Thursday, August the 28th with the committee and Moveave villagers. They have threatened to block the road along the Taure and Lakekamu bridges located along the main Gulf's Trans Highway. They have given 7 days to the authorities and will act upon this by September the 9th. The Gulf Provincial Police Commander Jeffrey Lam, who is aware of the situation and was at the forefront of negotiating peace at the time of the incident, has slammed the committee's actions. PPC Lam said the provincial government and the police have done what they can. Police are still struggling to arrest suspects from Kamea, given the harsh terrain and wild environment. Time and resources have been wasted on police efforts in this conflict, already without much success. Lam warned that issuing threats to authorities will not help the situation. The NID blame game continued in Tuesday's Parliament sitting. Minister for Administrative and Support Services Richard Masere announced plans to migrate to a biometric system of voting in the 2027 general elections using NID cards. Hirikoyari member Keith Iduhu was among other members of Parliament who spoke up, saying government needs to admit the NID project is a failed one. The National Identification Biometric Project was raised during Parliament question time Tuesday. Minister for Administrative and Support Services Richard Masere spoke on plans to have a biometric system in place for the 2027 general elections using NID, but this was immediately shot down and labelled a failed government project. Member for Hirikoyari Keith Iduhu said the NID biometric only covers 10% of the country's population.
And it is safe to say that it is a failed project. Failed program, and so it baffles me, Mr. Speaker, as to how the good minister intends to migrate that little 10% to a biometric dream of voting in 2027. Because this is a failed project, does the good minister agree that his mandate given by the good Prime Minister to discharge this very important work in his mandate has failed? And therefore he too has failed this country.
Masere stated that the NID program was created out of political convenience.
The question, the fact that it's a failed project is not a failed project. When NID was established in 2014, it was created out of political convenience, if I may say this. And they had created an agency that operated outside of the Constitution because of that political convenience. And then as a result of that, we had two agencies running parallel, duplicating the exact same work. You had PNG Civil and Identity Registry, and then you had NID. So when I became a minister, I had to correct those issues and flaws that was created by the former government.
Masere's biometric plans were met with more objection.
The minister alluding to the fact that some funds were misused by the former government is quite incorrect. He has to be specific. Who misused the money? Work money misusing money, or some leader money misusing money? That's like Totok must come up straight. No can suit him and nothing longer the man. So, Mr. Speaker, admit your failures. Admit your failures so that you can correct yourself in doing the right thing for once.
But Minister Masere assured that the government has underfunded NID in the past 3 to 4 years and needed to gain more partnerships with members of parliament to drive the NID programs in electorates.
So in saying that, I would like to give confidence to the House that we are working very hard to make sure that we deliver on the biometric voting system, which NID will support to bring credibility to the voter, which has been missing in the electoral roll in the past. So I need the support of members of parliament to invest in this very important program if you believe in the credibility of the electoral roll in your electorate.
After the break, ships open for second day of visit and teachers call out parents for neglecting children. Thanks for staying with us. The two-day open ships event at Port Moresby's Old Container Wharf concluded with a packed final day, featuring information sessions on naval operations aboard the vessels. A naval crew from Tonga also took part in the Open Ships Day to foster stronger partnerships with the PNG Navy and other Pacific counterparts. Crowds from across Port Moresby attended the significant event held in line with Papua New Guinea's 50th independence anniversary.
As part of Military Week, the SIP Open Day showcase brought citizens together to experience naval operations firsthand with the involvement of both PNG's Navy and visiting Pacific crews.
The collateral damage
Students,
will be
workers and
low, but if they
residents
shoot on a
engaged in information session that highlighted the
close
strategic
range,
importance of maritime
you
defense in the Pacific.
So
Visitors
this
also
was
toured
issued to
the different
our
naval
counter-fleet
ships on display.
fisheries.
We are having ships open day for Papua New Guinea Navy and other Navy from overseas. So basically we are having general public come on board all naval ships, and we do all displays on safety and everything on board, how to maneuver and how to use the ship safety equipment and all this, including weapons on board.
Other sessions focus on safety and emergency protocols during naval operations, with particularly intrigued secondary school students. Boat rides proved to be a highlight, with 2 military vessels offering passengers an exciting experience on the harbor. Tongan Naval Commander Lieutenant Kilioni Murphy said their presence aimed to further strengthen partnership as Pacific brothers. He added that many military and naval training exercises conducted in Australia already involve PNG, Tonga, and other Pacific nations. Military Week continues with a series of events running until Saturday, 7th of September 2025. Michael Tampipais, TVWAN News.
An awareness was conducted today at the Igam Barracks Academy in Lae by a team from the Buimo Correctional Service, especially from the Juvenile Division. 5 juvenile inmates shared their experiences behind bars with students from the elementary to junior high level. The most common factor outlined by the young detainees was neglect by parents and guardians, which led to their engagement in criminal behavior.
Discipline starts at home. This is a phrase that is repeated all too often and is equally ignored. Most times, teachers or schools are blamed for students' behavior, like the recent harassment case at the PNG University of Technology in Lae. However, a child's foundational values, habits, and character are built at home, while a school can only reinforce these lessons. Today, a team from the Buimo Correctional Services Juvenile Division visited the Igam Barracks Academy, which was formerly known as Igam Primary School. Correctional officers, trainees from the University of Goroka, and 5 juvenile inmates talked to over 1,000 students from elementary to grade 9 about juvenile detention and the freedom that is often taken for granted. Final year Bachelor of Arts, Religious Education and Personal Development student from UOG, Lynn Kenya, who has been doing her industrial training with Buimo for the past 4 weeks, emphasized that mostly breakdown in the family unit leads to juvenile delinquency.
5 major things that they connect. It's a cycle that is connected to a teenage kid involved in a criminal activity. First is family. Family is referring to the home. That's when the teaching and learning, the first step of the teaching and learning. Mama, Papa, and first plan. Teacher inside the house, also line beginning. Time Mama, Papa, level to beginning. That's the time of beginning feeling not affection inside of the family, which all feel emotional. They are not belong to the family. So all try and best go outside the community, which all finding peer group. When they find peers, they feel that they are belong to and all feel all part of the community.
Peer pressure leads to educational challenges where adolescents drop out of school and cannot secure employment as they get older. Kenya outlined that the financial need to survive also pushes teenagers to seek alternative and often illegal means of getting money. Madri Namiritsi, who has been teaching at Igam for 3 years now, applauded the Buimo team for the awareness program.
It's scary, like with what I had. Of how they've been treated in the precinct. As a teacher, having my child in there would be sad for me.
The very first feeling that I had was like, that's exactly what we teachers tell them in class. We used to that's one of the subjects we teach is called CCV. We teach them virtues of life, real things, life experience. So me being a teacher and I heard them talking, it's like, that's exactly what I tell my children, and they have taken the wrong path.
Both teachers welcome the awareness program and express the need to continue it to other schools. They believe that when correctional officers and detainees physically visit schools and talk to students, this would help to minimize today's escalating law and order issues. Kamala Guare, TVWAN News, Lay.
When out in the field and dealing with community and landowner issues, mediation skills are vital. For Mineral Resources Authority mining wardens and senior legal counsel on Tuesday, September the 2nd, received certificates of competency after completing a 7-day basic mediation skills training earlier this year. The training provided critical mediation skills to manage disputes better, especially in relation to compensation and benefits negotiations between parties. The training was delivered by the Alternative Dispute Resolution Center of the National Courts and the PNG Center for Judicial Excellence under the National Mediation Accreditation Standards. The trainees said the successful completion of the competency criteria by the officers was a testament to the authority's capability in regulating the mining sector and addressing issues over the years. The people of Salt Nomane Karimui district in Chimbu province are celebrating after 2 major education projects were opened, an investment in education supported by the Chimbu provincial government.
The Governor of Simbu Province, Noah Cool, and Provincial Administrator John Punde were in the district to open the new facilities at Doliba and Yobai Junior High Schools. A total of 900,000 kina from the Public Service Improvement Program was invested in the project. At Yobai High School, 200,000 was used to build a new double classroom. Doliba High School received 700,000 kina, including 400,000 for a double classroom and 300,000 kina for a 64-bed boys' dormitory. The 2 schools' head teachers presented accountability reports on how funds were spent. Doliba High School was formally upgraded to secondary school status by the Provincial Education Division. Governor Cool emphasized partnership and teamwork in driving development, while Administrator Punde urged communities to take ownership of government projects. The investment marks a milestone in the province's efforts to improve education access and quality in remote areas. Susan Oriape, TVWAN News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed lower at $0.2399 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2324 $0.3538 Australian dollars, €0.1916 and 34.18 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed higher. Coffee and cocoa closed lower, while copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. TV1 News continues with news from abroad after the break. Thanks for staying with us. A bomb blast has killed at least 11 people at a public rally in the southwestern Pakistani city of Quetta, according to local officials. Government official Hamza Shafat said the rally on Tuesday was held in Pakistan's Balochistan province to commemorate the anniversary of the death of Sardar Ataullah Mengal, a nationalist leader and former provincial chief minister. Mr. Shafat said Mr. Mengal's son, Sardar Akhtar Mengal, who was in attendance, was safe, but another 30 people were injured. Officials who spoke with AFP on the condition of anonymity said the blast took place in the parking lot of a stadium where hundreds of members of the Balochistan National Party had gathered. Children's advocates and MPs have met in Canberra to discuss ways to protect children from the potential harms posed by artificial intelligence. The roundtable focused on developing a national prevention and awareness program for AI-related harms. It's also reviewing the use of facial recognition and a provision for the additional training of police. Advocates were warning AI already poses a risk to children's safety.
child sexual abuse is an awful crime. It's becoming more and more prolific. The nature of it is worsening because of AI tools that are enabling offenders to make their methods of abuse more sophisticated, as well as make their methods of evading justice more sophisticated.
Technology can be a tool to help keep communities safe, but it can also be weaponised. And so we need to ensure we have the right regulatory approach, that it can be used as a tool for our law enforcement agencies, for preventing grooming, for protecting children, but also with the guardrails that we know are necessary around data and privacy, so that the public can have confidence that these very powerful tools will be used in the right way to keep us safe.
Today, the leaders of China, North Korea and Russia, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, have sent a powerful message to the world as they stood side by side watching a grand military parade in Tiananmen Square. The occasion marks 80 years since the defeat of Japan in World War II, but it also projects a powerful unified bloc of authoritarian regimes. And China will be keen to send another message that it is the center of this bloc. In 2023, Kim took his heavily armored train to Russia for a high-level visit, and a year later, Putin returned the favor, witnessing a high-choreographed military parade in Pyongyang. The two leaders signed a new military alliance. North Korea has since provided Russia with thousands of troops to assist its invasion of Ukraine. In return, Russia is meant to be helping advance North Korean military technology. In a remote part of Western Australia's Kimberley region, traditional owners have returned to their country for the first time since devastating floods ripped through the area 2 years ago.
A couple of years ago, this riverbank was around 20 metres underwater. Home to Bunaba traditional owners, this wildlife sanctuary was devastated by once-in-a-century floods in 2023.
That hill, where that hill?
It's just over here to the right.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the first time Bunaba elder Selena Middleton has been back since the floods.
These trees weren't
the
here
acacia.
before.
Yeah, they've come up big, hey?
Yeah.
Together with the Australian Wildlife Conservancy, she's logging any damage to the sites on an app.
It's taking a contemporary framework of conservation with that custodianship of caring for country and how we can integrate that and have really good outcomes for the conservation of Mornington.
Most of the families here now are reconnecting back to country.
It's been 20 years since Barry Middleton visited his grandmother's birthplace.
Well, it's good to be back home to see the old things again.
For these children, it's the first time they've had a chance to connect with their country.
They're doing things like they don't really do it at town. You got kids walking around in circles in town.
A first step to restoring this country after a flood that cut a swathe of damage across the Kimberley.
You know, there was a lot of impact. We're going to be doing a lot of other animal monitoring surveys in the future after this camp to see what type of animal will come out now since the flood.
A job for this generation and the next.
A tank revealed by the ABC to be leaking methane for more than a decade has sparked calls for federal intervention. The ABC investigation revealed estimates of emissions from the leak have ranged up to the equivalent of millions of tons of carbon dioxide.
A secret leaked to the public.
A whole lot of regulators knew about it and nobody did anything to make Santos fix this leak. And instead, they keep approving Santos's new projects.
The ABC yesterday revealed a tank at Darwin's LNG plant had been leaking methane since 2006. And the public weren't the only ones left in the dark. The Northern Territory Chief Minister says she heard about it yesterday, despite being first reported to NT regulators in 2020. The leak sparked concerns about risk of fire and explosion to neighbouring areas, as well as its climate impact.
The federal government has to step up here. We can't trust the Northern Territory government to act in the best interests of its own citizens. Basically, it's cowboy country, and they are acting with complete disrespect for the best interests of their own residents.
The federal government says they're taking it seriously.
I have asked my department to ensure that the expert review of methane emission management, which I commissioned, the government commission, led by the former Chief Scientist Dr Cathy Foley, examines the matters raised, ensures that it's considered in their deliberations.
There are calls for the federal government to take further action and push gas giant Santos into repairing the tank. For now, the tank sits empty, but levels of concern are rising.
Brothers eye revenge on last season's grand final loss, and Guria's fan goes overboard for Chris Benjamin. Those stories after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Brothers Rugby Union Club makes its 9th consecutive grand final appearance in the Pepsi Capital Rugby Union competition this Saturday against defending champions Valley Hunters. This rare feat has never been achieved by any rugby union club in the competition before.
The Capital Rugby Union Men's Premier Division Grand Final is a must-watch for the rugby community in Port Moresby. Brothers come into the game in style as it heads into its 9th Grand Final appearance. Brothers are out to claim the title this time after a narrow loss in 2024 to Valley Hunters 28-21. Brothers captain Michelle Jonah highlighted that the team will not dwell on the past results and is taking this Grand Final as a new challenge.
This year it's a new challenge, and the boys will really dig deep this coming Saturday, and nothing new. Same coaches from our forward coach Bomai, who joined the senior team, and JK is still around, so still the same play. But I'm not giving much away, but the boys will turn up.
Valley Hunters coach Frank Genia praised Brothers for maintaining their success in the competition.
Brothers, as an example, they made 9 grand finals in a row, and they're probably the example of the last decade of how to keep players motivated. For us, it was about what's Brothers doing well that we can do as well. How do they motivate their players? So my biggest challenge was just to keep the players motivated.
While acknowledging the history of the Brothers Rugby Union Club, Genia said his team will come in as underdogs as they play a team with finals experience.
We did something pretty special last year, but we've never mentioned back-to-back this year. We've never mentioned making the grand final. We just focus on each game. Now that we're here, it's just about enjoying it. So 2024 is in the bag. 2025 title is up for grabs.
Genia said the Valley Hunters are expecting nothing but a strong match from the Brothers, who lost last year's grand final and will come to avenge that defeat. Genia thanked the Capital Rugby Union community, family and friends for their continued support throughout the tournament. The Pepsi Capital Rugby Union competition grand final will be played at the National Football Stadium on Saturday, September 6th. Susan Oriape, TV1 Sports.
East New Britain Egmark Guria's speedstar and crowd favourite Chris Benjamin continued his sensational scoring from picking up a double to help his team defeat the Port Moresby Vipers in last Sunday's thrilling elimination final. However, his performance caught the attention of one passionate fan who went overboard with excitement.
A fan jumped the fence and ran onto the field to hug and embrace East Britain Egmark Guria's speedster and crowd favourites Chris Benjamin, who had been in sensational scoring form. Additionally, due to a strong windy conditions, an umbrella flew across the pitch, adding to the moment. Both the fan and the umbrella was swiftly removed by the authorities. The young fan was later identified by his nickname Kiruko, a youth who resides at Morata suburb. And if that was not enough, he ended up joining the team for dinner at the Sanctuary Hotel the same evening.
Number two, me big fan, Luis. Next week semi-final.
To show appreciation for his passionate love and support to the team, Gurria's management promised him a Gurria shirt and a main grandstand ticket towards the preliminary final between the Gurrias and PRK Mendimuruks this Sunday. The incident created an unexpected twist to the Gurrias' victory, and it also showed the passion, loyalty, and dedication of their fans. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
It took 400 games, but the finals for the 2025 season of the Queensland Rugby League's Host Plus Cup have been decided. After 23 rounds, it is the Burleigh Bears, North Devils, Townsville Blackhawks, Wynnum Manly Seagulls, Sunshine Coast Falcons, Redcliffe Dolphins, PNG Hunters and Ipswich Jets who have earned the right to play in September.
Hunters again on the hunt.
The weekend match is vital for the top 8 teams. With the qualifying matches, a tough matchup and a sudden death clash awaits in the elimination finals. The PNG Hunters came off a huge win last weekend and hope to maintain the winning spirit in the camp. The Hunters will remain on the road this week as they venture south to Kayo Stadium to take on the Redcliffe Dolphins in the first elimination final. Hunters are in 7th place with Dolphins on the 6th. The match remains anyone's win. In the second elimination on Sunday, Ipswich Jets will walk the finals tightrope, needing to upset 5th place Sunshine Coast Falcons at Sunshine Coast Stadium. Burleigh Bears, Wynnum Manly Seagulls, North Devils and Townsville Blackhawks are in for the qualifying finals with Hunters, Dolphins, Falcons and Ipswich Jets fighting out a sudden death contest. Rex Litter, TV1 Sports.
A monster game between the Brisbane Broncos and the Melbourne Storm is looming to kick off round 27 as the Broncos get a chance to lock up a top 4 finish in front of a boisterous home crowd at Suncorp Stadium. Craig Bellamy has named his squad for Thursday's round 27 clash with the Brisbane Broncos at Suncorp Stadium.
It's a great way to start.
In a major boost, 2024 Dally M medalist Jerome Hughes returns from injury to reclaim the number 7 jersey, resuming his halves partnership with Cameron Munster. Xavier Coates is also back, lining up on the wing with Will Warbrick on the opposite flank. Grant Anderson and Nick Minnie combine in the centres. The Broncos go into the round in 4th spot on 34 points, equal with the Sharks and Warriors, but boosting a superior points differential to both of those sides. With Rhys Walls in dazzling form and Payne Haas leading the way in the front, the Broncos have the weapons to make some noise in September. But history shows the double chance of afforded by a top 4 finish is vital. The Storm are set to finish second regardless of the result, but they will be hell-bent on making amends for a 40-10 hammering at the hands of the Roosters that saw coach Greg Bellamy's milestone night. Up front, Jules King celebrates his 100th Storm appearance, while Nelson Asofa Solomona replaces Stefano Utoikamanu. Ativalu Lisati earns a start in the second row in place of Sean Bloor. Taron Wizard, Alec McDonald, Tui Kamikamitha and Joe Chan are also named on the bench. From Broncos camp, J.C. Arthurs has been recalled on the wing, so Dan Marinas pushes into the centres and Gimat Sabashaki has been stood down after a breach of Broncos team standard. Brendan Piakura has been named to start in the back row and Jaden Hunt on the bench in a straight swap from last week. For Storm star halfback Jerome Hughes returned from a shoulder injury, while Xavier Coates, Eli Katoa and Nick Minnie and Josh King are all back after being rested in round 26. Tui Kamikamitha returns from concussion on the bench, while centre Jack Howard is listed among the reserves as he closes in on a return from a groin injury. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the sports segment. Regional forecast: Southern, Port Moresby partly cloudy with chances of brief showers. Daru cloudy periods, possible rain showers. Momase, lay cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Wewak, partly cloudy with possible rain showers with thunderstorm. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, partly cloudy, possible rain showers and thunderstorms. Boka, cloudy periods, possible few showers. And in Highlands, Mediterranean Wabeg, cloudy periods with possible showers and thunderstorms. Ocean forecast, Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with patches very rough, with southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots with gusts. Solomon Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with southeast to easterly winds of 10 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with southeast to easterly winds of 10 to 25 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas light to moderate with easterly winds of 10 to 25 knots. And that ends TV1 News. Thanks for your company. Good night.